Hey guys, so I'm going to be reviewing Pacific Rim The Black. Now, this is the new animated series that came out today on Netflix, and I'm going to be just talking about it, and I was really excited. I gotta say, this does not disappoint. This show right out the gate does not disappoint. Now, I was worried about it because I was wondering how they were going to play this out. Now, apparently, this takes place. This show does take place, but after Uprising, which doesn't make sense to me because isn't if I remember, it's been a while now. Do keep in mind I haven't watched Pacific Rim Uprising in a while, but if I remember right, Australia was free. Like we saw people in Australia. In here, it's like Australia fell during the war with the kaiju, and what had happened was that they basically had like this thing called they initiated this thing called the Black, which is like we're making it a no man's land. Australia has fallen. We've lost the continent, and that's it. Which, when you think about it, it's a cool idea. It's a really cool premise. We lost a whole continent in this war that was so bad with the kaiju. But at the same time, it does open questions like if we lost one continent, how did we lose Australia? And because the idea, they do kind of reference that the when the kaiju took Australia, that was meant to be like a beachhead for them jumping to other continents or getting closer to other continents, which makes me wonder because. But then, to be fair, they don't really talk about what is the Black. Like they don't talk about what is the Black. So maybe it's like there's a no one goes in, no one goes out kind of scenario where they're keeping the kaiju that breach in Australia, pinned in the continent. So maybe that's it. They didn't. So there's that. I also dig how they basically. It's very much like Mad Max. It's a very Mad Max kind of scenario where there are now people out there who are essentially just reveling and ruling over other people who couldn't get out. So the main focus. I know I'm going all over the place, but let's go into the main focus. The main focus is our two main characters, brother and sister team, Taylor, and I believe the girl's name was Whitney. But I dug them as characters. They're not perfect. They're very flawed. They're both very damaged, especially what happens to Whitney in the beginning of the show. And they really delve into mental trauma in here, and I like how they use that kind of that way of expressing mental trauma through the drift. Because what I've always wondered about the drift is you're delving into someone else's head and you're more or less imprinting their thoughts onto you, and it's like a mind meld. I feel like there'd be more takeaway from that. And there are moments in here where they play with that. They use it as they use the drift as a torture device in one scene. They also use the drift as to ghost and use someone else's memories to pilot the Jaeger, and how it affects someone mentally. That's really cool. They really play with the drift a lot more than they do in the movies. So I really dug how they manipulate, how they would use the drift and how they would play with it. So I thought that was a really neat scenario. The characters themselves, I like how they're not perfect. They are not perfect in any way, shape, or form. In fact, they're just using basically a practice kaiju, a practice Jaeger. It doesn't have any weapons at first, and they get their asses handed to them a lot. When you do get Jaeger kaiju action in here, it's brutal, it's insane, and it's not. You feel every punch like in the original show, and I dug that. And I was wondering how that would transition in CGI, because CGI animation always goes a bit faster, but I think they handled it pretty well. I thought they handled that pretty well in terms of the fighting sequences. And it's not like we have, whenever they do use the Jaeger, it's kind of like how in the original seasons of Voltron Legendary Defender, whenever they did use Voltron, it was special. They didn't use them a lot, but when they did, it meant something. It was cool. It was yeah, this is it. So that's how they use Atlas Destroyer. That's the name of the Jaeger they use. There's a lot of unanswered questions. This is clearly, obviously, first season, and there's, hopefully Netflix doesn't. And I'll get to Netflix in a moment, but like, I dug it, and they did. And keep in mind, this show is only this season is only 7 episodes long. That's insane that they managed to pack so much like character and emotion in here for 7 episodes. That was insane to me of how much they managed to do. And it's not just kaiju in here that we see. We also get some human villains. Shane is a monster. He's like this gangster who's now like running, kind of running this area in Australia and running like a gangster. And I like the character of May, although I will admit May is straight up, like, you look at that character one glance, it's like, oh, they clearly ripped off Major Kusanagi from Ghost in the Shell. They straight, like, no, really, go back, watch that show, or if you do go watch that show, you'll look at May just one time and go, dude, they straight up just stole the Major's character design, and armor, too. They just slapped a scar on the Major and just said, that's May, that's our new character. But she was really cool. I really am interested in where they're going to go with her story. I also was surprised by the violence. Like, there is some major violence in this show, that some of which I was not expecting. I thought this would be a little more toned down. As an animated show, I thought it'd be toned down in terms of violence, but no, there's some violence and swearing. There's one death in here that you will not see coming. There is a death in here that I was like, oh shit. I almost fell out. Like, I was like, oh my god, that just happened. Like, I was not expecting that. But I mean in a good way. Like, I'm happy that I didn't see a death coming, and it's a character you'd think was going to live, too. And that's the other thing, is that I like how this makes you feel like no one is safe. Like, that's what I like about this show, is that it's giving you that sense of no one is safe, no one is, okay, and there could be a chance someone could get Game of Thrones up in here. So I really dug that. I really dug that about this show. I liked the introduction of the character of the boy and how they're playing it up. Although when you get to him finally doing more, it's like, oh, so we're going Attack on Titan now, and all right, you'll understand what that means when you get to it. You'll understand what that means when I'm talking about, oh, we're going to be like Attack on Titan now. All right, because literally there's a moment in here and with the boy. And when that scene happens, and trust me, you'll know when it happens, you'll be like, the Attack on Titan theme will start playing in your head. I promise. Yeah, this is just, like, this is really cool. Like, this was a great way to start the whole slew of kaiju stuff that is coming down the line. Because in a few weeks we've got GVK, so as you all know, your boy excited for that. But this was a nice way to like really introduce, like, boom, you want some kaiju action? Boom, here's Pacific Rim the Black. And it's nice to get back into Pacific Rim, which has been kind of like a dormant franchise since how poorly Uprising did. So maybe this can, get some traction and to get more stuff with Pacific Rim. Hopefully Netflix won't pull a Sci-Fi Channel and cancel it. Because that's what, I'm totally not bitter about them canceling Dark Crystal Age of Resistance after 1 season. Nope, totally not bitter at all about them canceling what was a perfect Emmy-winning show. So, yeah, this was fantastic. I loved it. If you're a kaiju fan or just a fan of Pacific Rim in general, go check this out. I cannot stress it enough. Go check this show out. It was fantastic. The characters are great. The action is great. This is what I've been looking for. When you say you're a kaiju fan or a fan of tokusatsu in general, it's stuff like this I can point and say, that's why I'm a fan of kaiju. That's why I'm a fan of all this stuff. So, get back in the drift right now. Go to Netflix. Go check it out. I cannot stress it enough. Go check out Pacific Rim the Black. It is perfection, in my opinion. So, yeah. So there you go, guys. That is my review for Pacific Rim the Black. But if you've watched it, comment below. Let me know what you guys thought of it. Did you guys like it, hate it? Are you hoping for a season 2 like I am? I don't know if it's been confirmed yet, but I'm praying it does. So yeah, once again, I'm Mr. Multiverse. I'll see you next time in the Multiverse.